instead of giving up, understand that one, you have to forgive yourself. People talk about climbing the ladder of success. There's nothing as painful as climbing over and over and over and over, only to realize that your ladder of success was actually leaning against the wrong wall. The greatest shame is accepting your current circumstances. Welcome to the Witness Mtaka Show. I'm your host, Witness Mtaka, and I want to share some of the most important things I think are important when it comes to you reinventing yourself. Especially if you're somebody that's starting over and someone who wants to start winning again. We might not realize this, but one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to go through the process of metamorphosis. And metamorphosis speaks to transformation and reinvention. I'm just throwing in the word reinvention to give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. If you look at how a butterfly ends up being a butterfly, it starts out in a cocoon. And in that specific cocoon, it keeps expanding, and breaking out until it becomes a full blown butterfly and starts flying. Now, in all of those things that it would be pushing through or going through the process of change and the process of reinvention, which is called the process of metamorphosis, most of the time it goes through an extreme amount of stress and an extreme amount of pressure. Now, a story is told that a young man was observing a butterfly go through the process of metamorphosis, as in the process of change. And at that specific moment, he thought that butterfly had already gone out. One of the wings were already out. And the boy looked at the butterfly still in the cocoon and said, I want to assist that butterfly get out and fly, because he felt sorry for the butterfly. The story says the boy went to it and assisted the butterfly out of the cocoon. Now, immediately after the butterfly was out of the cocoon, it started flying. But as it was flying, the boy realized that on the right wing, where he had assisted the butterfly get out of the cocoon, it was not able to fly properly. One of the wings would fly properly, but the other one would not fly properly because the butterfly was assisted. What that means is that by trying to make things easier for the butterfly, the boy actually crippled the butterfly. Now, this happens to a lot of us where we wish things should have been done easier for us. That if there's an exam that we need to write, can somebody just help us with a script? If there's a proposal that needs to be done, can somebody write that proposal for us? If there is a business plan that needs to be written for this business that we want to do, can somebody do it for us? And we forget that by doing that, we're actually cutting ourselves short, because now when the time comes for us to actually do the work, we would not be able to do it because there's a part of us that knows that we did not go through or undergo the proper process of reinvention. Now, I know apart from all of this, a lot of you have gone through the process of loss. You've gone through failures. You've gone through where in the past certain things did not work well for you and they've caused shame, embarrassment, things like divorce. I've gone through a divorce, the loss of a parent, I've gone through that, the loss of a sibling, I've gone through that, the loss of a friend. Luckily, I have not lost any of my very close friends, but I can just imagine for those of you that have gone through that as well, how difficult it is when you have started a career, built it over the years, and found yourself having failed. I know what it means to build a family, work on dedicating yourself to building a family as a man, dedicating yourself to building a business in the process, only to find that as you are building, climbing through this ladder, your ladder is against the wrong wall. You know, people talk about climbing the ladder of success. There's nothing as painful as climbing over and over and over and over, only to realize that your ladder of success was actually leaning against the wrong wall. So that speaks to starting over. If you were on that ladder, on that wall, climbing up, only to find that you were not able to now reach the top of or the pinnacle of your career or your business simply because you were leaning against the wrong business strategy, wrong idea, wrong opportunity. Instead of giving up, understand that one, you have to forgive yourself. Two, you have to accept that your old self is gone. Maybe if you think about all the time that you've wasted with alcohol, wasted with weed, wasted with partying, wasted with clubbing. I know for a fact that when I was going through divorce, there was a time I had not drank alcohol for 10 years in my 20s. But when I was going through divorce, I actually started drinking. And it took about 3 years for me to actually realize this is not me. This is not for me. And as soon as I let go of that part of my life, I realized that the fogginess in terms of thinking, the slowness, the lack of understanding on certain things quickly faded. And the improvement in finances, improvement in efficiency, improvement in how I did things, that added to all of that. But perhaps you have not found yourself in a situation where you've left all of those things. What is it that you need to do? Right? There are three things that you need to do if you are starting over. You know, when you look at the power of reinvention or the power of realizing where you are and undergoing the process of change or the process of metamorphosis, same as a butterfly does that. Realizing that it's not going to be easy is one of the most important things you can give yourself. You know, accepting that your old self is gone, letting go of the past, letting go of any past failures or even some past successes so that you can evolve and grow. You know, it is said that no, I was watching this on The Sopranos, the the mafia story series, and there's a guy there, Tony Soprano. He was talking to another guy, and he says one of the worst places you can ever live is remember when. Remember when? Remember when we were in high school and we were tough? Remember when we were in high school and I did well in soccer? Remember when we were in high school and I was number one in my class? All of that, all of those things are in the past. Whether it's past failures or past successes, we have to put yourself in a position where you evolve past those things. You know, success is about adaptation, not stagnation, not dwelling there. You know, powerful men constantly evolve and refine their strategies. So, number two, you have to understand that success is about adapting, it's about uh, evolving, it's about constantly refining yourself as a man, refining yourself, refining your strategy, refining the work that you're working on, finding different ways of doing things. All of that puts you in a position where you can constantly be changing and adapting and becoming better. So, if you now place yourself in a position where you've forgotten the past, the third thing you have to do is make decisions from your future self, not your current circumstances. It's very important for you to align your actions with the man that you are becoming. Think of the man that you are, sorry, think of the man that you are becoming. Ask yourself, how does that man behave? How firm is his handshake? What's the level of confidence he has? What are his relationships? What sort of people does he have around him? What sort of women is he dating? What sort of wife does he have? The guy that you can picture as successful, how does he move? What kind of car does he drive? What sort of business strategies does he have? What are the opportunities that are being given to him because of the man that he has become or is becoming? It's very important for you to know exactly the kind of man you want to become, the kind of man you're envisioning yourself to be. Because from there, every form of decision that you're making, you'll make it based on not your current circumstances, but based on who you are becoming. Aligning every action with the man that you see yourself becoming is one of the best ways you can reinvent yourself and put yourself in a position where you are winning as a man. The greatest shame is accepting your current circumstances and doing things based on where you are. If you believe that you're a man that needs to have a business, you're a man that needs to have a stature in society, influence, meaning, money, power, there's a certain way that you will want to act, behave, and do things because that adds to you becoming that person that you need to become. And if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this conversation is that there is nothing that you cannot or you can change about the past. There's absolutely nothing you can do about the past that's behind you. But there's a lot that you can do when it comes to the man that you are becoming and the man that you will become, right? So, forgetting the things you cannot control, controlling the things that you can control, and knowing the things that you can't control. Forgetting the things that you can't control, knowing the things that you can control, and understanding what are the things that you cannot control are some of the most important things that you can do for yourself. And the past, my friend, is one thing that you will not be able to change. Now, if you're a man and you are starting out in property investing and you're looking for a place where you can advertise your property, head out to www.adprop.co.za. You'll be able to find tenants there. You'll be able to find a place to stay. You'll be able to find different properties that are listed there from office spaces, commercial property, and residential property. Why? It's important for a man to be preoccupied with building something. And part of what we are doing here is making sure that you're a man that's refining himself, reinventing himself, and putting himself in a position where he's going to win again. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Click on that subscribe button. Ciao.